Hello there, gamers everywhere. I'm Swipper92 and it has been a while, but here we are. Combined with some, I, shall we say, dry spell of ideas and, well, sometimes you just need to take a break from everything. I had a 2 week vacation and just played games. And I did nothing else basically, and it was glorious. It was just what I needed. 2 weeks away from work and everything. It was really good. But here we are again, and I'm trying Superfuse. It's a newly released action RPG with a Diablo style kind of gameplay, more closely to Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. And it works quite well, but we do have some issues. But let's start on a positive note and say that the game looks very good. The abilities, the environments, and the characters have a certain unique style that I do like. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Borderlands, actually, which is not a bad thing. I do like it. I do like the art style here. Uh, they do have a bit of a one-sided kind of way going, at least for the few hours I've played so far. Now, aside from that, I don't have any issues with the art style. There are a bunch of little details also in the background that I do like the graffiti and the what's the word? Like small details, like buckets and those things in the world. And character designs are very unique, I would say. Another good thing about the game is the abilities in this game, because they do not work as traditional abilities, I would say, that you normally see in games or action RPGs like these ones. You have for example, ways of fusing abilities together with, I don't know what they call them, I can't remember, but you fuse together abilities together with rune type of things that allows you to modify that ability. Let's say you have a missile ability that shoots out a missile in a straight line. You can modify this to increase damage, make it a different element, makes it split when it hits enemies, or make it split when you cast it. So instead of having one missile, you fire three or maybe even five. You can also make it so that it homes in and so things. There are a lot of different ways you can do it, and you can infuse more than one thing. So you can have, for example, that it splits into three and all of them are homing and they have increased damage, and maybe I apply stun or something. I can't say exactly what kind of uses are available, but the splitting one, I do know that one. I do have that one on my Elementalist. And yeah, I really like that. And speaking of Elementalist, yes, that is one of the classes. You also have the Berserker and the Technomancer. So far, the Elementalist is my favorite one. The Berserker is pretty good, but I think I chose the wrong tree there, the skill tree at the start there. As you start choose your character, you can choose between three different, or the Berserker had three different skill trees. The other two classes had only two skill trees to choose from. But you can freely choose between each of these skill trees when you have started. The starting skill tree only determines your starting skill. Now, I believe you can reset all of this at a vendor in the game. So technically you can start as a fire elementalist, but then respec all your points and go ice if you want. Now, I do like the three different classes enough to say that they have a place in the game, but the Technomancer feels very underpowered early on. He's, at least when playing as with the minion tree that I started with. Other people have commented in the reviews on Steam that the other tree with the scrap met metal spike ability has a bug to it that it doesn't really work as intended. Now, of course, the game came out today and it's early access, the whole game, so there are probably plenty of bugs in the game that hopefully will be fixed in the near future. Now, these first impressions are just that, first impressions, so many of the things I do mention here might be changed in the future, and I will be sure to let you know in the future how the game is. As for now, the game is so good, but as I said, the Technomancer is really underpowered. For example, the first minion you get is decent damage, but it's only a single minion, and the second ability you get, which you can get at level 3, it's a decoy. It's just a decoy that you places out and the enemies will attack that, but only if they're within the certain range when you place it. And that range is really short. It's pretty much useless unless you place it right on top of the enemy. And if you do that, well, the enemy that are slightly to the left or slightly to the right or whatever, they won't attack that dummy. So it's half useless against those, which is a pity. You can increase the number of those tick minions, ticks. They look like ticks. You can increase the number, but that is pretty far down the skill tree. It's not as far as it's not far, but it's you can't just increase it like at level 5 or something. You need to be like 8, 9 maybe before you can actually increase it by 1, so you can have 2. This needs to be a little bit closer to the start, I think. So let's talk Berserker. Berserker was the first class that I tried, as I wanted to try the somewhat a little bit tankier class, but it's not as tanky as I would have liked. But I also chose the electric tree, which might not be the most tanky tree, as I discovered quite early on. Now for the Berserker, he's very basic. Melee attacks and electric attacks. Though the electric shield or electric buff that you can choose at that you can get at level 3, it feels really underpowered, and yeah, it feels really underpowered and not really what I personally would have done with the ability, because it only increases your damage slightly, and that's it. It increases your damage slightly, and it applies electrical damage. Now, personally, I would have liked it to maybe make it so that lightning damage arcs between enemies as well. Maybe there's a fuse you can do to make it so that it does that, but it feels useless, the ability, which is too bad. But it does increase the damage. It's noticeable, but barely noticeable. The So far my attacks are basically throw the lightning bolt attack that I have. I also use a ability that I accidentally got from one of the other trees, because I did not notice which tree I was on. I didn't even know I could pick from another skill tree, so I accidentally picked one of the other skill tree abilities. Might respec later, I don't know. But so far it's going pretty good. I did find a legendary item while playing on that character, but legendary might be a bit too far. I think it was legendary at least. It did have that color for legendary, but it did have increased damage, of course, but it didn't have any legendary effects as far as I could tell. And getting legendaries at level 10 was a bit, or 9, was a bit early maybe. Maybe I was level 8 when I got it. Oh well, it felt a little bit early to get legendaries, and well, I don't know how many legendaries there are in the game, but yeah, there we are. Let's move on to the Elementalist. The Elementalist was the second class I chose, and I did try all 3, as you probably can tell. And yeah, I like the Elementalist. It's very basic mage type with fire or ice abilities, depending on what you choose. And yeah, I like it. But it might almost be a little bit overpowered. But then again, I did get the split fuse very early on. Now there are people saying in the reviews that you only get XP and money for doing quests, but this is not true. This is actually not true. Uh, I've gotten fuses and other things from quest givers. So I think you need to, when you complete a quest or when you take a quest, keep left clicking on the NPC that gives you the quest, because that will skip through the dialogue that he talks about for the quest. Same thing when you turn in the quest, you left click on the NPC and he will skip through the dialogue, and then maybe you'll get a window up that allows you to choose between a fuse or a weapon or something else. I know one time I got to choose between three different weapons, and one time I got to choose between three different fuses. So yeah, they're not only golden XP from missions. Now I will say this though, missions are very backgroundy, and this story does not interest me at all, I would say. I mean, it's interesting about like what will happen maybe, but eh, it. I mean, it's an action RPG. Mostly you're just there to slash enemies and hack them to pieces, blow them up, whatever. But yeah. Ugh. Oh, I did not mention that you can play. I did mention that you can play co-op in this one. Did I? No, I didn't. Oh, it's a co-op. You have online co-op and servers and all that shit. Yeah. So if you like, you can play co-op with up to 3 friends, so 4 of you go around. I guess 2 of you will have the same class then, but maybe different skill trees. So that's interesting. Now, let's talk about the early access that is shown in the game. So far, I have not encountered any bugs, but I have encountered some server issues where I can't connect to the servers. This is not a major problem so far for me personally. I did not connect, and then I tried again and tried again and tried again, and it worked. I did also, the one time I had issues with it, I did actually also create a game. I went into the server browser and I created the game. And yeah, I guess that worked. But I mean, I shouldn't have to. But not too bad. It's fine. But what can we say about Superfuse? Yeah, you can really notice that it's early access. Much of the skill tree isn't even fully done yet, because there's like to be like in the works. So yeah, there's problems. Sorry. I do like the game. It has potential. I can see the potential for the game, but can I recommend it at full price? The game is 25 bucks right now, and you can also buy a Superfuse soundtrack and the Superfuse digital items pack, which is basically a supporter pack. There's a supporter edition if you want all 3, the game plus the rest. But I mean, no, I can't recommend it at the full price just yet, actually. I will continue to play it myself, but yeah, I can't recommend it at full price just yet, but I am very much looking forward to see what they will do with the game, because I will keep playing it a little bit more and see what I can do, because it's going to be really interesting to see what I can do with the different fuses. What kind of thing can I do with the minions that Technomancer has, or the frost abilities, the fire abilities, the berserker, all that. It's gonna be really interesting to see what kind of abilities you can cook up. But yeah, that has been me. I've been Swippy92. Have a great life, and I hope to see you in future videos. Bye bye.